Welcome to the Clwydian range of hills in North Wales for the fourth round of the British Mountain Biking National Series. Half the events are now completed, and at present the overall standings look like this. In the women's, Deb Morell has established a slight lead, but will be missing this round to compete in the World Cup. For the men, Chris Young must be the series favourite, as the next three riders are all in the States, again for the World Cup. So the British contingent are faring well abroad, but some have had to stay behind as they struggle with their health and form.
I came back from Australia, I did the first round of the National Series, which was okay, and from then on it's been really, really difficult, but I've kind of got used to it now and things are starting to pick up again. I've had blood tests and antibiotics, I've had a virus, so that it's not just me. I've definitely had health problems which are on the way up now, and I'm starting to feel a lot better.
I was away in a training camp in Spain with Nicky and a few more, Dan Cook as well, and we all seemed to catch kind of a flu virus, which it seems to have affected us all very similarly. It ended up having to take 2 weeks off after I'd had a crash, which seemed to add to the problems, more antibiotics and tetanus jabs, etc. I had 2 weeks off, blood test before, blood test after, and it seemed to do the trick. And over the last 3 weeks, things have started to go well again.
Surprising myself on the road. This Wednesday I won a TV crit in Rochester, and I don't know where that sort of form come from, because I haven't trained for the road. I've been training for mountain biking, but the crit was really hard out hilling it, so if there was one that was going to suit me, it was probably Wednesday night.
I'd like to really ride Worlds and have a good crack at it this year, and some more bigger international races around the World Championships time. I've just been holding my form most of the year, and it's been going quite well, and I just want to make that next step up if I can to international races.
And with their main competitors away, how do they think they'll fare here today?
The pressure's on this weekend for a win, you know, after second last week in Scotland against David Baker, and he isn't here. So obviously I'm favourite and raring to go.
The way I've been riding the last few weeks, there's plenty of riders that have been giving me a hard time, so I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just going to get out there and see what happens.
It kind of always helps with your results, as opposed to getting, you know, near the win, but I'd much rather always race against them as opposed to them be away. Yeah, as far as the results concerned, then it should help.
It'd be nice to get a win, especially like this week, winning a crit on Wednesday night and then turning to mountain biking for the weekend, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
The women's field is also missing some of the top riders, but there's one who's missed out on the American rides.
First World Cup in Australia went well, and the first round of the BMB went well, and since then it's been going downhill really. My form's been off. I think it's probably mainly to do with just the other hassles really, the sponsorship hassles and stuff that's been going on. I didn't get over to America to do the rest of the World Cups, but then my form was not really worthy of going anyway by that time. But I'm going to carry on doing the British rounds and see what happens.
It's quite a shock really to say that, you know, you go from riding form 2 years ago and I'm now sort of, I get paid to ride my bike. It's like, it's unbelievable really. But yeah, I'm enjoying it immensely.
I had a baby last July, so I packed in training as soon as I knew I was pregnant. Well, I carried on training a little bit, but obviously stopped racing. And this year's just really been coming back into it. Just race to see how I went. I mean, there's a few new faces around, so it's still the same competition.
The racing hasn't been the conditions that I like. Today is a lot of climbing, so it should be more my kind of course, I hope. Not so many descents. And the weather's looking a lot better than it has been for a while.
I need to be enjoying it again, because last few races I haven't been enjoying it, I've just been doing it as a chore. So today, sun's out, so you know, I'm going to enjoy myself hopefully and do as best as I can.
Well, we'll see how Sean fares shortly, but first off are the men. Also on the line after 5 weeks off with a broken collarbone is the former Tour de France stage winner Martin Early, and the course here could well suit him. It's ridden anti-clockwise, and from the start there is a massive climb, which apart from a brief descent is unrelenting for 3 miles. That takes the riders to the top of the course at Mole Plazy, from where there is a steep open descent. And it's more or less downhill to the finish, with a few technical sections such as the bomb holes to keep the riders on their guard. Race commentaries by Hugh Porter.
Heading the field are the Thackeray brothers, with younger Robert just ahead of Richard, the winner of round 2. They've started quick and opened a slight gap. The overall leader there, Chris Young, knows that Richard is one of his main challenges for the series. Thackeray is renowned for his fast starts, while Young, in contrast, tends to finish strongly. But as they tackle the main ascent, it's the powerful climbers who are coming through. Martin early leading, while another Tour de France finisher, Adrian Timmis, lies third. This short descent is the only respite for the competitors till the top. And you can see how slippy the grass is with the rear wheel of the second rider slipping. In fact, that's another Irishman, Richard McCauley, in his first BMB race. And most of the riders are showing vigilance, which is giving Early the chance to open a slight gap on McCauley and Timmis. Next through is one of the young riders, Alan Gunner, who's only in his second year as a senior, and he's leading the bunch. Off a few minutes later are the women, and it's another fast starter, Alison Windos, who's taken an early lead. But I'm sure the favourites won't worry, as they know she'll come back on the climb. They've got a 4-lap race ahead of them, and if Sian Roberts is not 100%, Louise Robinson could be in for her first national win. Down the short descent, Windos has maintained her lead, but the principal contenders are now coming back to her, with Robinson just ahead of Roberts. If the Welsh woman has returned to form, she's arguably the strongest rider in the field, and a win here will give her a comfortable lead in the series. She looks determined. Oh, she almost collided with Robinson there. Jackie Fletcher right on her wheel, and Isla Roundtree completes the top 5. The riders now head over the small peak of Mole Evan before topping the course at Mole Placé. Joining the leaders at the bomb holes, Yorkshireman John Clay has made a lone break on the climb, getting away from Early, who's now been joined by Gunner on the descent. Also moving up is Nick Craig, who's been struggling to last the distance recently, while Timmis makes it 2 Team Orange Pertex riders in the top 5. Young is also in contention, having moved ahead of McCauley, another roadman who recently finished 4th in the Tour of Ireland. While the leading Scottish rider, Andrew Wright, is just ahead of the third Irishman, Alistair Martin. The English riders have been dominant for a number of years, but now these boys, who have some excellent riding terrain back home, are beginning to challenge. Dropping back, though, is Thackeray. He's now 13th behind Paul Hinton, and his brother Robert 1 place lower. However, the pattern of the women's race is a lot tighter, with Angela Ward right on Robinson's wheel. Fletcher is also still right up on the pace. And those three have opened a slight gap on Roundtree, with 5th place Tamsin Green riding strongly. But where's Roberts? Lap 2 at the top of the loop, and Clay, who's been suffering with a cold for the last week, is gradually extending his lead. Behind him, the Irishman Early has again ridden away from the rest on the climb, but he's been quite tentative on the descents, no doubt conscious of his recent collarbone break. And the riders are getting a rare treat, as it's not often they actually get to go right over the top of a mountain. But Gunner definitely won't have time to enjoy the view, as he's now been joined by Craig, who's a talented descender. And Timmis, well, he won't catch Craig on the downhills, but he's extending the gap behind him, and he doesn't need to do any more than that, with his teammate going so well at the front. Clay's yet to gain a national points win in a mountain bike race, his best being 2nd in Scotland last year. Back to the summit, and Young is having a real battle with McCauley for 6th, while it's now a 3-way tussle for 2nd, with Craig and Gunner having got the better of Early on the descent. You can see how the rally rider styles more ragged through there. Wright, who took 3rd in the mud of Scotland, is putting in yet another good performance, but he's still got his hands full with Martin just behind him. So as the riders head through the trees and the narrow tracks, they've now got little opportunity to overtake each other till the end of the lap. The real damage is being done on the climbs, with most of the field just trying to hold their places on the frequent steep drops. And before the break, here are the men's positions on lap 2, with Martin Seddon now moving ahead of Alistair Martin.